What are some of the AI-led technologies that are being researched now and might come in use soon? And also, if you imagine future HR organization, led by AI, how will that look like?
Yeah, I think that's like very fascinating. And there are like certain areas I'm a bit more like passionate about, but I'm not sure whether I have like the perfect map for all technologies. But I will throw out like maybe like 2 or 3 like areas which I see lots of potential. Also, I think to what Arnold said earlier, I think there's still so much to do before we get to the future, even in the present. There's so much to do to take away lots of the operational work in HR, because I do see my HR colleagues just like, working like very hard, very long because of the large number of transactions in like going on at the moment. So that's things like communications, document generation, document tracking, scheduling of interviews, scheduling of meetings, searching through like both job descriptions as well as roles, as well as skills, as well as candidates, search technologies. So I think even in the current, there's like so much to do on the automation portion. But I think for the question, I'll try to focus more on like some of the newer things that I see. I think one interesting one is the intersection of diversity and inclusion and AI technologies. So I do know, for instance, like at least 2 or 3 startups trying to tackle the problem of discrimination when a hiring manager looks at a resume. And this comes in like multiple forms. The first form is not just like showing the hiring manager the resume as it is, but having like AI come in to almost like scrub the resume of things that are like sensitive. So for instance, if I really didn't like someone with your surname, they'll make sure that they erase out all the sensitive information and only what is relevant to the person. So I think that is like a nice first step. But I think beyond that, there's also like I think the fundamental of what matching algorithms are trying to do. They're trying to match a person to a vacancy based on some information that's stored in the resume. But the resume is not always the best repository of information. So I've seen like other companies who are trying to look at for different types of roles, different alternatives to the resume. For instance, over in software engineering, many people put their code and projects on GitHub. So rather than read resumes for software engineers, people would say like, let me write an algorithm to analyze your GitHub so I know your skill in this language, how sophisticated you are, how detail-oriented you are, and use that rather than a resume to hire. There are also innovations around like softer skills. For instance, how would like a salesperson's influencing power come through in a resume? It will be very difficult. But again, they're looking at different AI algorithms to measure different things that would be better predictors of success than a resume. My personal favorite is, I think, a confession that I play video games and computer games quite a lot, even now. And so I think as I observe some of the behavior I see in these like complex multiplayer games, I often see like very high levels of management skills in some of the games that I play. For instance, you have people who are able to coordinate large groups of like hundreds of people to do like large projects in games. And I find myself thinking that person would make an excellent, a team leader, project manager, something like that, in the way they treat and take care and nurture the people on their team, a good coach. And to me, even things like pastimes like games is another rich source of digital information that I think you can mine to figure out like hidden talents who might not be able to have the branded like signals on a resume, but actually really good at their work. So I think these whole areas of trying to find like talents is like very ripe for work in AI. A different one, which I think is also very interesting, is the whole L&D experience. And I think there is a lot of work in, firstly in transformation of L&D even without AI, and so I think there is a lot that can be done there. And if you have sat through any of our online training and like sat in front of a screen, like clicking a button every like 10 seconds, there's a lot to do there. But I think also we also fall into the trap of having one L&D offering for the entire population. So like this is the course for X, that's the training for Y. But I think what research shows us is that everyone learns very differently. Some people like to do things interactively. Some people like to read. Some people like to listen. Some people like to experiment. And I think making personalized learning journeys based on how we interact with content is also a very rich area for AI to play in. And I hope that will make learning a lot less painful and a lot more engaging.
And on that point, I would say I would totally agree, because a personal pet peeve of mine for L&D is that it seems like many companies focus on L&D as being just in case and training being just in case, and it should really be just in time. So it's not so much, it's as much as what content should people get, when should they get it, right? It's not because you are at a certain level that you need this training. Maybe you need a different kind of training, and can sort of AI help there.
I really like the phrase, just in case to just in time. It should kind of.
The other thing I've on that question of what's the future of AI for HR, one thing I know at least one company is working on, it's work in progress, but it's a company called Higher Logic that we work with, and they are developing new technologies to power up interview techniques and interviews, in particular video interviews. And what I heard is that there is one company that does real-time, the software listens in on your interview, and the current technology allows salespeople to make better sales calls. And so the software will listen in, pick up on clues, and might say, hey, here you have an opportunity to ask more about discounts or pricing, or you should lower your price or increase your price. So that technology apparently is out there. And this company, Higher Logic, is looking at using that kind of technology, listening to interviews and making suggestions to the interviewer and say, hey, maybe here maybe here you should ask more about motivation. Maybe here you should ask more about compensation, and having sort of live, sort of augmented reality interviews, if you want, to help interviewers ask better questions.
Yeah, that's a great example. Very interesting.
So thank you. Those are all the questions for this session.